Hello and welcome to Flashback, the games you loved, the stories you forgot. This is episode 29, and this week we're doing a Flashback special with the news of Sony's announcement that our gaming future is going to be all but digital by 2028, and the others sure to follow. With our thought is our duty as gamers, collectors and podcasters to give you 12 physical games from the PlayStation back catalogue that we think you should pick up now before the prices rise. And it's first in a new series here on Flashback. So thanks for joining us. And as always, I'm RGT, and I am joined by the guy who would surely earn a degree if it's about JRPGs, couldn't keep his eyes off the screen whilst playing through Final Fantasy 15. If he ever had a tattoo, there's a good chance it'd be Shenmue. It's UCP George. How you doing, George?
Wow.
Close or not? Close or not?
It's like 60% of the time it was right, 40% of the time. So I think that was a good ratio for me. Good to be here. Life is good. Controversial times we live in, RGT. And like I said to you off air, I've come with a mindset of games that I kind of see are synonymous with not exactly exclusives, and also maybe a bit hardware locked from the PlayStation library that might be worth having a look at from a historical curio point of view, or just from a bloody hell, that's a good game.
Yeah, definitely. And like I say, it's as a recording this, that has been the Sony announcement that's been going on and been hot pressed the last week or so, 10 days. So we thought, rather than doing a standard show, we'll sort of do these picks from sort of PlayStation 1, 2 and 3, and we'll do a part 2 where we'll do like PS4 and PSP and Vita and etc. And like I say, like George said, not necessarily exclusives, but we sort of picked ones that we think are going to go up, or games that you sort of are more locked to the systems, or ones that you probably should pick up if you haven't. So yeah, there's a bit of a mix here, but definitely worth having a look at going forward, as obviously the playing field is changing a bit in the future. So do you want to start first with
Why is it changing? We're going to an all-digital future, RGT, where these historical curios may be lost to time forever.
There's your change. Yeah, definitely. I think we all knew it was coming, but I didn't know if I knew it was coming quite that quick. So I found it a bit odd that a 3-line sort of statement has just gone after generations of digital games from PlayStation. I thought there'd have been a bit
As I
more
said
of
to
a
you
big
off air,
quote.
there's plenty of time for a turnaround, and between now and then, they're probably going to sell an absolute megaton of physical games. So I think
Yeah,
it's a win-win for them, I
I
suppose.
think you could be right. So they've been very quiet on social media for the last week. So we'll see.
Well, they launched a fight stick today. Not that this is retro news, so let's get into it. Who's
Yeah,
going first? You go first, because I want to see the cut of your jib.
the cut of my jib. Love it.
Yes.
Like I say, I've gone with first one, probably quite a obvious one, but it is keep creeping up every time I keep looking. And that is Metal Gear Solid on the PS1. I picked this because I still think it's very playable today for a PS1 game. PS1 games, even from someone that collects PS1 games, some of them can be a bit hard on the eyes and difficult nowadays. As we've said before, George has said on the show before, a lot of games, especially from this era, there still wasn't a generic or an industry standard control scheme. So some of the controls on games can be quite different. But I think as games have gone on, the sort of top-down isometric view of games has come back quite a lot. And you see that in quite a lot of games now. And I think this is sort of one of the originals of that, especially on consoles. And I just think, like I say, it's very playable, great story, gets you in that setting when you're speaking on your radios and that as well. I just think it's one that, almost timeless. And I just think it's definitely one to pick up if you're in that way of physical games, and you want to get a bit of a collection of the classics. Then I think Metal Gear really has to be in there. I mean, that was Konami Computer Entertainment Japan, developed it, published by Konami as well. We obviously know it as Kojima, um, with the director of the game and producer, designer as well. And we all know the games that Kojima does. And this is just one of his very best. Came out on PlayStation and Windows, but I'm obviously talking about the
For
PlayStation
me,
version.
yeah, it's synonymous with PlayStation. You close your eyes and think of it, and it's that one brand that's always been very closely linked to PlayStation's history. Um, for me, it's Metal Gear Solids. They are games, don't get me wrong, so it'd be quite glib of me to say they're not, but they're more experiences. The
Yeah.
cutscenes, the way you interact with them is not necessarily the same as you would interact with other games. The emotional storytelling is done in a way. I mean, we talked about an auteur and David Cage, but the true, probably greatest auteur, in my opinion, of the computer industry has got to be Kojima-san. And this game, you've had Metal Gears before, but this one really stuck it on the radar. The voice acting, the script, the no spoilers for a 400-year-old game, but some of the ways you interacted with it, very special. And the way it interacted with you, even more so.
Mm,
And that's something which is a great pick by you, RGT. I see what you've done here. Because
mm,
how will the digital experience ever replicate finding the codec on the back of the box?
mm. Yeah.
See what you've
Yeah.
done there? You brought the camp forward straight out first time.
Yeah. And I think also there's certain games that the experiences with that console, we've said this many a times on UCP and we've said it on here. Um, I think with Metal Gear, you open that case up and that's just putting that disc in a PS1, the click of the lid, that PS1 controller, and then you really see what the PS1 could do at the time. And this is a great representation of that. I mean, and I just don't think, even if you emulate this, which you probably could, and I think has there been remasters? Did they get one on the of this first one or not?
Yeah, yeah, you can get it in the remastered one now, and there was a remastered one on the PS3. There are other ways to play it, and obviously it's
Yeah.
been available digital through the PS Classics on like Vita. I think for that
That's
reason
it.
it was
Yeah.
on PSP. For that reason, it was also kind of digital download on PS3 as well through that shared lineage of those three machines.
Mm,
But if you want to play it properly, you need to do it on a PS1
yeah.
with that controller,
Mm,
with the memory cards, hopefully with some of the other Konami saves on there if you're lucky, if you want the full experience.
mm,
Just think about it.
yeah.
And then, go in blind and go for it using the box as suggested when you're prompted to and just enjoy it. What a great all-inclusive experience, like a an old album from the 60s that had you sort of opening it up and reading through the gatefold and doing all that good stuff.
Mm,
How does that exist? I mean, it barely exists now when you open a car game thing and there's a health and safety warning about epilepsy in there. So, oh, right. Kind of wanting to read about the law of the
yeah.
world that I've just bought, but instead, for the 50th time as a kid, I'm riding home reading an epilepsy warning. I mean, bizarrely, I know this inside out.
Yeah, I know. And it's, this game was that that experience that I don't really think had been seen before to have that different experience, and it always got me as well that it was one of the first games I played that was stealth to that degree that you play it under
Mm.
stealth like that, and then it's almost like espionage in a really cool James Bond sort of setting, and I just thought it was fantastic, and I still think, like I say, I still think it holds up well today. I mean, if we go through the reviews that it got at the time, it was all game 5 out of 5, computer and video games 5 out of 5, Edge 9 out of 10, EGM 40 out of 40, Famitsu 37 out of 40, GamePro 5 out of 5. Just go on and on and on. So it's a very, very highly rated game of the era. Like I say, which I think is very playable in today's world. I think it's something to look back on and see is one of them gems that made a generation of consoles. I think there's when you talk about PS1, I think you can't talk about it. There's greatest games without mentioning Metal Gear Solid. Um,
No.
Price wise, I'll go through them all at the end. So if you're listening and you want to know the prices of these games as of recording this show, stay tuned to the end and we'll go through each selection and what they're sort of roughly going for at the moment. But yeah, so my number one pick for the PlayStation 1 is Metal Gear Solid. What's yours, George?
Okay, well, you've gone highbrow. I've gone lowbrow. Really off the back of nostalgia, but also because it's a great game. Totally locked. And it is a Sony exclusive because it was developed by them internally, and this studio did go on to create basketball games for the studio, baseball games, and then became Sony San Diego. So this is Porsche Challenge. It really was a showcase
Mm.
of what maybe the console could do tech demo wise. I think they hit the mark pretty hard in terms of the graphical fidelity. Like, yes, there's been improvements and other bits and bobs. Um, but coming off the graphical prowess of the Total NBA series, they came in with their motorsport offering, which was Porsche Challenge, built around the Porsche relatively recently launched Porsche Boxster car. Um, like I say, RGT, fun little game. Not much to write home about. Obviously, there's a series of tracks in there, and if memory serves, we've got like a little bit like and the N64 game Beetle Racing Adventure. There are like other ways to get through. You picked
Mm.
a character that you could see because they were like convertible cars. You can see the character driving the car. It was pretty highly detailed for 96. It was, early days of PlayStation. For them to be kind of getting Gran Turismo graphics pretty early on is a testament to what they were doing. I'd like to think this was relatively affordable. I wouldn't like to think it was setting the world on fire financially, but yeah, you're not going to find this anywhere else. Are they ever going to release this to you for you to be able to enjoy it, even though the only thing they've got to pay is a little bit of licensing to Porsche for a dead car? No, of course they're bloody not. So if you want to play this game, you can't rely on Sony to give you digital access to it because it's not going to happen. And it's these little bits of curio from their own studio's legacy that one could argue they're not really archiving in a digital way to allow us access in the future. Like they're making efforts to get games out, but their efforts so far range from things that you find bizarre, like Toy Story, to them sort of frustratingly not bringing what you would call some of the absolute bangers from the era almost immediately. So, yeah, Porsche Challenge is never going to see the light of day, nor are the studio's other PS1 titles, the Total NBA series. And I'll be honest with you, they're some of the most graphically impressive games that you find on PlayStation, especially seeing as they're coming from an internal team. So, enough said on a pretty old racing game
I was just going to
RGT,
ask you. I
but
was just going to ask you about that because I don't think I've played that. So is that like chase cam sort of setting? Is it like
yeah, it is. I think there's a bonnet cam as well, but it's mainly chase cam, so you can see the graphic of the car and the person driving it as you
Oh,
drive
cool.
around.
So do you do? Is it like challenges you have to do, or is there like a story mode to it,
It's
or is
like
it more?
little mini races basically that you
Yeah.
just hammer around on. It's fun. It's quite challenging. I remember me and the aforementioned Terry Blow. He had this first time round, and I remember him playing through it. And it was quite a classy product as well because brand new. It was like crystal white on the front, Porsche Challenge with a lovely picture directly from Porsche, one presumes, of the Boxster on the front, and it looked really classy. One thing I would say is that this game must have been printed at a time where PlayStation really had no idea what they were going to do with their boxing because I've had this version to try and get one mint. I've bought this in the about three different box variants.
Is that when you had like the blue back sort of drop on it? And
So it was always the same artwork, but it's different sizes to fit the different sort of cases they do. Because PlayStation initially did one with like a black ridge around the outside that was
hmm
slightly smaller.
Yeah, I think my Tekken's like that.
That box art won't fit in the standard PlayStation case.
Oh, I never knew that.
It's too small. It falls out.
Mm.
And then there's another variation of it as well. I can't quite remember where it might not say PlayStation on the spine. It just is plain grey.
Mm.
So yeah, trying to find one that is as I remember it has proven quite difficult. But
Mm.
that's just a minor collector quibble. Just pick the one on eBay that most looks like the one that you remember or the one that fits your collection and go with it. You won't be disappointed. It's a fun blast of a game. And like I say, it's a curio from PlayStation's history that you'll never see made available by them. So grab it physical while you can.
Great choice there. Brilliant choice, George. Well, I'll jump into my second and final PS1 game. Um, and final being the appropriate word, 'cause it's Final Fantasy VII. Yes, I'll pick this on my PS1 top 10. I'm picking this because, yes, it's had remake PS4, PS5, but that original story, that turn-based gameplay, this is a way to play it. And again, I've picked it because I think if you sit there and look back at the PS1 and this massive selection of games, but all the big banger games, that's Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy VII that are going to be in that list, I think. And again, it's a huge game. It's another one that probably over exceeded what they could do on the system. Square Enix at the time just seemed to get bigger and better stories for these Final Fantasies. Pushing the hardware, multiple discs. I think it's a great story. I love the world it's in. And then it's another game where this is what I'd call like the original print. This is like the original one. Like I say, there is the remakes, which are fantastic, by the way. And that is a way to play it. But if you're of an age where you played a PlayStation back in the day, the way to get that sort of proper nostalgia hit is to open that top drawer up and put this Final Fantasy in, and away you go on your adventure. Um, Again, I think we spoke about this before. It's not one you've played, is it, George, at the Final Fantasies, although being a Final Fantasy fan.
And I was always like a bit put off by the graphics, but I've dabbled with it. But I think if I was ever to go back, it probably would be I would go back and do that first.
Hmm.
Like I'm playing through 8 at the moment and, finally got to grips with its magic system, happy with that. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So, I mean, there is an allure to some people to those Chilby graphics, but to me, it's always been a little bit of a bar to entry. I guess
Mm.
that's why the remake has done so well as well, because I don't think I'm alone.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think you're right. It is, it's definitely a different way of doing a game. I know that obviously they had the pre-rendered backgrounds, but then that art style was different. But it's emotional story, great story, big story. We'd come from 16-bit consoles and then suddenly play a game of 60, 70 hours long RPG. He's was quite special at the time. Again, I know I've said this on the show before, but the ratings are all 4.5 out of 5, 4 out of 5s, 9 out of 10s, 90%, 96%. Had great ratings, timeless. If you're into turn-based games, and you're okay with the art style and you haven't played it, definitely give Final
I'll
Fantasy
forget
VII a
whether
look.
you're right with the art style. If you want, forget my personal dilly-dallies with, my own way I want to consume a game. Don't let that put you off. It's a
Mm,
fantastic story that's been proven time and time again with the amount of times it tops lists. Um, if you want the true experience, you got to get it here because it's turn-based.
yeah, yeah,
As
exactly.
soon as you get to the remake, it's practically Devil May Cry. So if you want the chill experience, you better grab it on PS1.
Yeah, I love the remakes. They are very good, but it's a retelling of a story, sort of hybrid action turn-based gameplay style, which is really good, but you get the story across, and the cutscenes they've done really well. But that original experience, head to the PS1. I definitely think that's got to be there as one of the first ones you buy. But what's your second game then for the PS1 then,
Yeah,
George?
this isn't locked to the PS1 per se, but for me, the definitive experience, you graphically could argue is, I guess it maybe even got a PC port, but on Dreamcast. But for me, the game sold gangbusters on PlayStation 1. It sold gangbusters off the back of its Tony Hawk's family lineage. It's Spider-Man by Neversoft and published by Activision. We've spoken about this before, so I'm not going to go too crazy on it because we featured it in one of our PlayStation top 10
Yeah,
videos,
yeah.
or audios, so go check that out wherever you found these. If you haven't heard that, then you must go check those out because you're going to hopefully be equally as entertained. But this is a game for me that Sony are synonymous with Spider-Man. You know, they own the rights to Spider-Man and they've done a lot with the franchise. Most recently, obviously, we had the PS4, which got a PS5 remaster, Spider-Man, then Miles Morales, and then Spider-Man 2, which brought in Venom and Khalik the Hunter or whatever his name is. But this game is technically something they could get their hands on and put out. Are they going to? No. Are they heckers like? Is this a really great comic book telling of Spider-Man? Yes, it is. And it's one that I implore you to look out and get in your collection. I'd like to think this wasn't overly expensive. And if you're looking to grab things that won't ever be made digital, this is another great pick. And underneath all that, it's a great game that you'll enjoy whiling away on a Sunday afternoon, on an autumn's evening, one would imagine. So grab it while it's hot.
Mm. Yeah, great choice. And up till that game, I'd always played them side scrollers.
Exactly.
So then having this as the first sort of 3D that I would imagine is the first installment 3D wise of
As far
Spider-Man.
as I'm aware, it was, and it was if it wasn't the first, it was the first one that made sense.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and that was different. That was big. It was like, whoa, hold on, we're not just, we're not like a platform and action game now, side scroll, and we are suddenly swinging through a city with limitations, but at the time,
Yeah. Well, they
very
weren't
good.
really limitations at the time; they were just part of it. And to
Exactly,
be
yeah.
fair, it's worked into the gameplay to a point where it makes sense.
Yes, yes. And you sort of you control your character in the knowledge of this,
Yes.
which is cleverly done. And also you can see the DNA in this weaved into the later games. Excuse me.
Oh, without PlayStation 1 Spider-Man taking a swing, PlayStation 4 Spider-Man never even knew how to jump off the floor
Yeah, yeah. So it's
because it's exactly those mechanics that they've employed
yeah.
in every Spider-Man game since.
And you can imagine being a developer thinking, right, we're doing a Spider-Man game. Let's try and make him swing around the city. I mean, that would send shivers down your spine. How are we going to do that? The web, we've got to do the web. We've got to do his animations of his body swinging. We've got to have the control of getting him around the city and buildings. He's got to climb on buildings. Suddenly you're like, whoa, there's a lot of things we've got to do here to get him as Spider-Man would. So yeah, fair play to
But
Neversoft.
to my point earlier though of the whole digital versus physical argument, they could have digitally, which
Hmm.
would have been seen as a goodwill thing, on the build up to the launch of Miles Morales and the PS5 or
Mm.
Spider-Man 2, got hold of the rights for these, even for a limited time, ported them, all the Spider-Man games that you can get your dirty mitts on, and for 1 month, you have Spider-Man month.
Oh, how
You
good would that be? That's a great idea.
you theme the store all like this. You have all the different
Mm.
themes and the movies that they can then resell you available through their PlayStation or their Sony movie streaming platform
Yeah,
so they can get subscriptions there. I'm not saying that they need to shill dollar and dime and roll over and give us everything for free, but if they want us to move into a digital world, make it fun.
yeah,
Give us a
yeah,
chance to play games that traditionally maybe a casual player might not know. You know, you've got your brand new PlayStation 5 or 6, you sit down and instead of feeling like you've been dollar and dimed for some premium service that you never really use, they theme it, boom, Spider-Man month, like boom, all the games, these are the ones, this is a story, curation. I've always gone on about this. They've got these
yeah.
wonderful platforms. They don't use it. So in the
No,
meantime, we fill the gaps by saving these physical products to allow people to, initially ourselves, very selfishly, and then future generations to hopefully play these things and enjoy them and see, if not enjoy them in the way that we did, but at least enjoy them to see the way the medium has grown.
yeah, and also it's a nod to the physicals that we played. So for a younger gamer who loves Spider-Man and Spider-Man mad, give them that nod, give them that look at what we played. what
Mm.
Spider-Mans we had when we were their age. Give them a bit of that history, like you say, make an event of it. Yeah, and it's a shame because probably most people that played the Spider-Man games, did they know about this one? Probably not. Probably not. So, yeah, great shout that. But takes us on to PS2. We've done two games each on PS1, so let's jump on to PS2. Um, my first one, no brainer. It's Jack and Daxter, the precursor legacy on PS2. Um, I picked this because, again, very playable today. I believe it's in the store. You can probably still pick it up on the PS Store. That digital version, will it ever be? Will it be there forever? Probably not. Um, and also they did. I know I was watching Mystique, the YouTuber, earlier, and he was saying about because he's a big fan of Jack and Daxter. He got the prints of that early PS4 version they done
Mm.
when Limited Run done the physicals, and
But
he
that's
got
not the version you're going to play on the store today.
that's not the version you get to play in the store today.
So weird.
Hence why it's weird with digital because things can be changed, and the ones before are gone. They are gone. Um, so I think this is probably your only way you're going to get a physical version of this game. But the good thing with Jack and Daxter Precursor Legacy is it looks fantastic, very colourful,
So good, RGT.
plays so well. It's a great game now. It's and you look on like the Switch store. There's so many 3D platforms on there that people are making, and probably 90% of them aren't as good as Jack and Daxter.
No.
It's that good a game that it's timeless. It plays so well. It's great fun. And it's that early look into the Jack and Daxter series. We had two and then three, and we had X Race, and they all faded off a bit. But this was the original. This is the one. And I just think it's if you manage to get yourself a cheap PS2 and picked a copy of this up for cheap, which it is cheap, picked a copy of this up, you aren't going to be disappointed. Now, sometimes you pick these older games up and go, "Oof, that hasn't aged very well." You won't say it about this. You'll think,
Mm.
"Oh, that looks decent. That plays well." Obviously, as we all know, it was Naughty Dog, published by Sony Computer Entertainment, in 2001. Single player platformer. Again, review wise, Metacritic is 90 out of 100. And then as you go down, it's all sort of fours out of fives, 25s out of 30, 9.5s out of 10, 9 out of 10s. Great scores across the board for just a very, very well made 3D platformer with a really good story and bit of comedy and new characters that are quite lovable with Daxter and that. So, yeah, definitely check it out. Um, you got anything to say on Jack and Daxter, George? I know you're a fan of it
I
yourself.
I will agree with everything that you said. I mean, I find the game phenomenally playable. It's easy to pick up and play. I think a newcomer could easily pick that up and enjoy it.
Hmm.
It's very inclusive, and I mean that in every literal sense of the term. A
Yeah,
kid could play this and get enjoyment from it. An adult could play and then get enjoyment from this. I know
yeah,
I certainly did.
yeah.
He's got some of the classic tropes, like obviously it's skiddy in the ice levels and all that sort of drama, but other than that, it plays like an absolute belter. There's something quite nice and endearing about the two characters, and I think there's something about the charm of this one. Like, yeah, maybe they couldn't have carried it on because it would have felt like Smurfs, right? But there's something about this particular game that's just got a real nice charm and feel to it that gets
Mm,
kind of lost along the way. Oh, we got to be mature and gritty. Like, you didn't have to take it that route, but like I understand why you did. Um, they were maturing as a developer as well and probably wanted to try and get into something a little bit more story heavy or something with a slightly mature tones. A fair play, but for me, this is the one.
mm.
It looks great, it plays well. It's a beautiful little game, and
And
it's cheap.
it's cheap, and it's at a time when games had to be finished properly before going out onto the shelves. So you buy a copy of this, you haven't got any day one updates. You
Hey,
haven't got any, it is just made as it is. It's
I tell you one
so
thing for
good.
this game. I'll tell you one thing for this game. It's super cheap, and the manual is one of the best manuals you'll ever have.
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
And you're not going to get anything like that ever again. I mean,
No,
this
definitely not.
particular one, it folds out as a map, does it not? Or some
Mm,
sort of artwork, and it also is the game manual inside as well. It's a really clever idea and it works perfectly. And it's another way of just embodying that
mm,
physical product and turning it into something way beyond. And this isn't a collector's edition. It's not, oh, you got to go get the special version to get that in there or any of that garbage. This is just a standard retail version. They put their heart and soul into it. I
yeah.
think not only are a PlayStation themselves guilty of kind of the switch off, which they're admitting to, but I think everybody in the computer game world, apart from these companies that make money out of printing limited run versions, are very guilty of dumbing the product down to a point where it kind of feels pointless to even bother.
Yeah, no, you're right. And we've like you say with Jack and Daxter, it's that era where the whole game purchase was the experience, the great box art, the waiting to get home, as you say, the manual that folds out in a map. Stunning, absolutely brilliant. And that's all part of that experience. And then you play a game where it's just nearly perfect in every way. It controls brilliant. The graphics are awesome. The maps are fantastic that you play on. And it's
I've just had a
such an
scary
enjoyable.
thought.
What?
When the gaming industry was young, we were young. It was full of promise and young people trying to take a vision and turn it into something. They weren't terribly that focused about money. But then over the course of period of our lifetime, as we've grown, the money's grown. And somewhere in a business, somewhere, as you or me making the decision to X these things because we need our bonus. And we are kind of part of that problem. And I think the gaming industry, the movie making industry, the music industry, it requires artists, right? It does to create these visions, to create these things. And yeah, they need paying, I get it, but they're also realizing their vision. And I think the full vision of what they're trying to offer us isn't a thing unless it's physical.
Mm, yeah, very true. No, I think you're 100% right. And it's it's a very odd time at the moment. And we said this on our latest UCP show. Go and check it out. We had 2.5 Gamers UK on there, and we were chatting about this, you know, digital era coming in. And I said, the days are gone where probably Generation 7, maybe a bit of 8, where to sell a game you had to be different, you had to be creative, you had to make something that caught people's eye, that's almost no genre link to some completely different game, and now it's not
I
that.
I, th- I
It's trying
think
to fill a game. So like an FPS game, well, there's 50 million playing FPS. Let's make one. It's all for the money now, and the creativity is
I
getting
think this
lost.
the scary point of the, because as digital takes over and physical fades, there will be less people looking to stock it. Like CEX will like
Mm,
finally run out of games to hold, or they'll just have a load of FIFAs on the shelf, and what's the point of that? So they'll not bother anymore. So then the footfall there drops. All your local game stores, your franchises in the States and the UK are very depressed or gone. And what you're looking at is a quite scary thinning wedge of like no footfall. And we've talked about this with the demise of the Xbox brand in some ways. They kind of move towards this, oh, everything's an Xbox, the games all work on each other, but they don't. There's very little branding for Series X and Series S in stores, and kind of fueled their own disappearance. And you got to wonder if we move to an all digital world where how do people get introduced to games? How do people know about games? You're not going to go to the supermarket and see this thing and say, "Oh, mummy, what's that?" It's not going to happen.
mm,
So then you're hoping that the adult introduces the kid or the kid stumbles across some videos. But those videos in the UK at least are all going to get locked down very soon and they're going to not be able to watch YouTube. Little Johnny's going to have to be looking on daddy's account and that's going to skew daddy's search algorithm. So that's not going to last long. So how do they experience and discover games when there's no magazines,
mm.
there's no aisles in the shop, and they can't even stumble across a place like CEX or local Joker gaming store because the idea of physical is completely lost to them. So these things are just gonna evaporate.
Yeah, no, very true. Yes, it's scary times ahead and very unknown ground as to where gaming's heading. I think I know where it's heading, but it's not up, put it that way. But yes, so sorry, we went off a bit of a tangent there, but Jack and
No, it's all
Daxter,
part of it.
yeah,
It's all
that is
part of
part of it.
it.
That is.
That's why we're bringing these games today
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
you know, get them now, as you might not be able to.
Mm. Yeah, Jack and Daxter Precursor Legacy, like I say, it's available on PS4, but we don't know how long it'll be available on PS4 for in your digital copy. Um, and then if you change consoles or change accounts or anything, that will disappear. So
Mm.
definitely try and pick it up. So what's your PS2 game first
Next,
pick?
Persona 4, the OG. I know this got remade on other consoles, but it is a different version. This one is the one with the soundtrack, and these games are synonymous. And this one for me is synonymous with an absolutely banging soundtrack. Persona 4 is the story of you sort of going into an alternate world in a bid to solve some murders in a Japanese town, and you are a high school student and his friends who are thrust deep into the plot. It's a great game and it's way ahead of its time in terms of its storytelling and the way it interacts with you and the way the menus work. Obviously, it's been made very famous on the Vita, but the Persona 5 has been made very famous worldwide for its slick transitions, etc. That's all here. And this for me, my wife and I played this through. She took the lead, to be fair, and absolutely loved it. As the anime cutscenes in between, it's a story very well told. Um, but this, as far as I'm aware, this original version is only available on PS4, and it's a game that good they sought to
Two,
remake.
PS2, you mean?
PS2, sorry, and it's a game they sought to remake. So yeah, um, come grab this while it's probably, hopefully, still relatively affordable. I mean, just to give you some scope, I think I paid £15 for this, 20 because it had the CD in it. So that's just for relevance. RGT made a George, stop talking now face because I've probably wandered in with something. But, if you, it's the point of listening and you've been umming and ahhing about this, not only is it,
Mm,
I assume, at that rate an accumulating asset, it's also locked to this system. It's also synonymous, in my mind, with this system. Very late release on the console. And I think that more than just being a piece of something to look at on the shelf, it's probably the best JRPG experience you can get on any system.
mm. Yeah, it's. I know it's highly rated. Never played it myself, but I would imagine as well the art style, which especially like Personas have, which are
The
fantastic,
way
probably
it
looks amazing on the PS2 as
the
well.
way
Looking at.
it just rolls and it plays, it looks very sharp as well. It just feels like something that shouldn't exist on a PlayStation 2. It feels as fresh then. It just feels as fresh now as it must have felt then.
Mm,
It's that slick.
mm. Yeah, and like you say, apart from, I think they done a version. Did they do a version on the Vita Golden? Was it or
Yeah,
something?
golden. So it's not this. It's a different, slightly different version. I think there's extra content, but this original OG version is here.
Mm. And that's yeah, the only place you can play it, like you say. So another proper gem on the PS2 that you can't really get anywhere else. So
No,
yeah,
and why would they ever re-release that now digitally?
mm,
Makes no sense.
yeah,
And that's not a Sony problem. That's obviously a wider industry problem at this point because it's not a Sony game. But again, it's kind of synonymous with the platform.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, great choice there. Very good choice. My
What you got?
second,
What you got here? Bring it out. Let's have a look at it.
my second PS2 game, probably an obvious choice again, but one off, if not my most favorite Rockstar game. I've played this through five, six times, and even on the PS4, I've got the platinum for it because I just love this whole game so much. And that is, as we would say in the UK, is Canis Cayman Edit, aka Bully by Rockstar Games. This game for me dropped at a time when um, I loved GTA. Me and my mate absolutely adored GTA. And it had always been an idea that we always said, wouldn't it be good if you had GTA in a different setting, like a school or a college? And then this dropped, and we were like, oh my God, started playing it. I'm just like, this has got all the tropes of a GTA, but in a school. Rather than your weapons, you got catapults, rather than your cars, you got bikes. if rather than doing drug busts and that for your money, you mow lawns. It was that perfect GTA clone, but done by themselves in a school. It was just so good. Um, I ended up getting every version of it as well because I want to see the differences. I would imagine that the probably the best place to play it would be the Xbox 360 with the HD on, but I've got the PS2 version here, obviously, as we're doing PlayStation. Um, and it's just that story of Jimmy and his parents not really care and putting him in this school and rag to riches story. And like I say, even if you play this on the PlayStation Store, which again, how long it'll be on for, I don't know. I think it's about £7 or £8, but you don't know how long it's going to be on that system for. I don't think Rockstar have got any plans in remaking this at all or
Mm-mm.
re-releasing this. So you want a physical and
And
you want
isn't
to
it
play it.
broken if you try and play it on PS5 or Pro?
I don't know. I know the Warriors is. I'm not sure about Bully, but I know a lot of them PS2 games are. I tried Warriors, and that was like an illegal rave in a barn, seeing all the graphics flicker, and that was awful.
Wow.
And they didn't tell you that before you purchased it on your PS5 as well, which was
Mm.
slightly annoying. That
Welcome
so
to digital, baby.
yeah, and that's not going to say you could probably complain to Sony. I aren't going to go out and fix Warriors for you. Uh,
Not a
um, not
chance.
a chance. They just say, oh, you contact them to say, oh, yeah, sorry, that's one of the ones that play up, but they don't tell you that on the screen before you buy it on your PS5. Why even have it for sale? But anyway, that's a different story. But yeah, Canis came ahead at Bully. Awesome game. This is starting to creep up a bit now. I would pick it up while you can, because even if you're playing a PS2 vanilla version, again, like I said about Jack and Daxter, these games had to release pretty perfect, and it did. It's got that beautiful art style. It's got great controls. It's got a beautiful world. You can go and discover in the town when you get free. You've got your school lessons to do. Yes, there's different versions that have different bits and pieces on the Wii, and like I say, the Xbox 360, which is probably the ultimate place to play it. But if you're for a
Ma-
PlayStation,
Mate, I came to this late. I played it on PS2. It's the definitive version because it's where everybody
yes,
knows it from.
yeah,
And to me, it's better
the
than
others are
GTA.
ports, but
Yeah, you could take this comment, do what you want with it. To me, Bully is better than the GTAs of that era. And I tell you why. Because I think it's, in my opinion, some of their best work graphically. And I also think it laid the foundations of what future GTAs would become and would be.
Mm. No, I think you're right. And I mean, even the manual is a guide to Bulworth Academy. It's
Once again, mate, I mean,
yeah,
what the hell?
it's absolutely brilliant. And I mean, I love this game so much. I managed to get an original um Bully t-shirt as well, which I still have, and I try not to wear too much because I don't want it to go away because Rockstar weren't really well known for doing too much merch, so we're quite rare to get hold of. Um, but yeah, Canis Kane edit. It's got to be a must on the PS2. What's your next choice, George, as you try and hide your laughter? I'll move on to my PS3 game then.
No,
Right,
no,
so
no, no. I'm back in the room. I was just thinking, wow, can't wait to see you in your bully crop top.
it's definitely not a crop top. It is a t-shirt that fits. Come on, keep it clean.
Right.
Oh dear.
My next game, Gran Turismo 4. I love you, RGT. Now,
No,
why are you
you don't.
picking? Yes, I do. Why are you picking this, George? God's sake, there's like all these new GTs. Why would you say this? Because to me, this has always been, there's a lot of nostalgia here, but for me, this has always been like a really definitive game. If you want force feedback, it'll offer you that through a wheel. It's graphically beautiful to look at, as far as I'm concerned. The menus, the way you interact with the cars, the feeling of ownership, it's absolutely fantastic. And everything from the way this box, it's the Gran Turismo 4 box. I can't speak for outside of the UK or PAL regions, but it came in a white case, which was absolutely against the grain of everything else PlayStation were doing at the time. Everything was
Looked
the blue
classy
top
though.
boxes or the black boxes, and RGT says it looked classy. It did. It looked super slick. That with the predominantly white cover art made this thing pop on a shelf and look like
Mm.
something other than a game. And that's because it's Gran Turismo 4, the real driving simulator. And I tell you what, you certainly felt like a very privileged person from the minute you picked it up. This game, with its physical presence, its weighty manual, it was certainly something that turned heads on the store, and when you got it home, it just turned your head 360 once again. It's absolutely beautiful to look at. Like I say, the ownership of the vehicles that I felt in this game was second to none to any other Gran Turismo before or since. It incorporated the kind of management element. It incorporated the photo element in a way that just really worked. Um, to me, this is the driving game that I think of when I think of PlayStation. I always think of this version. I'd like to think this is relatively affordable, but what it does highlight is, as soon as the new Gran Turismo comes along, they drop the old one like a hot stone. Does that mean that it's not playable? No, it doesn't. Does that mean that we can't enjoy the roadmap of success and evolution that the franchise experienced? It shouldn't, but it does. I missed out on picking up Gran Turismo PSP on the Vita store, and I kicked myself because to this day that would have been the official way of having that and it being super cool on the Vita. But because I missed that window of time where it was available to buy before the franchises and the exclusivity deal ran out, I can only really now play that physical on the PSP. Like, yeah, that's where it's meant to be played. That's where it's for. But it would have been great to have that on the
Again,
Vita.
someone else decides that that digital copy doesn't need to exist, you're not getting it, and
It's
you never
gone.
will. Yeah.
Like I've got a load of digital cars existing on my PS3 storefront for the PSP version of the game, sat there for when I want to load them in and out as
Mm.
I please because they were cheap, so I picked them up one day. But how long are they going to allow me to support the downloading of a file for a PSP game that they don't care about to allow me to move it on? Now, oh, George just downloaded your hard drive. Yeah, but PS3's aging. You have to swap hard drives out every once in a blue moon, or if the console dies. What then?
Mm.
It's gone.
Yeah, gone.
So, grab this stuff, as I say, when you can. Gran Turismo 4, if you're a collector for the PS2, much like in my previous game, if you're collecting for these consoles or in any way have a bit of nostalgia for them and you want to get yourself a list of games that are must plays or bangers, again, go check our list. But added these two spicy extra ones. I might have brought this before, but one spicy extra one for you to enjoy and get on board with.
Mm.
RGT, what's your first PS3 game, you sexy little devil?
Well, just quickly, I was just going to say about GT4.
Oh, yes.
I still amazes me how they got those graphics on a PS2.
Mm.
Absolutely stunning. And like,
Well,
if you do,
unlike its predecessor, sorry, just to say, they'd actually rezzed up all the cars by this point. So they'd
mm,
actually worked hard to get the whole thing up to like a GT4 standard.
and absolutely stunning, and you can play it, in the was it 480i or 480p? You can play it in which
480i here, but you could take it up further in the States. Yeah.
and I've even played recently, randomly. I was testing some wheels, PS2 wheels I was selling on, getting out of my collection. I thought,
Mm.
well, I need to test them first. I thought, oh, what am I going to test them on? GT4. Put them on, and I've got it through um, an upscaler, and it looks good. It looks good when you think that game come out, and you just think, wow. And it's so playable. I mean, just before I
Well,
got rid of my game shed before that all went. A friend of mine's son, who was at the time was about 7 or 8, wants to play a racing game, and he said put something retro on for him. So I put Gran Turismo 4 on for him. He played all afternoon. He loved it. He loved getting the money up, getting bigger turbo on the car and bits and pieces. Absolutely loved it. And you're
mm.
thinking he's not worried that it's a 25-year-old, 30-year-old game. He just absolutely loved it. And it's a testament to how good that game is.
Yeah, to your point with the wheel, mate. I mean, I'm such a fan of this game. Well, two things. I'm such a fan of this game that I picked up an officiated Gran Turismo 4 wheel, um,
Oh, nice.
and it works so good with this. Like the
Mm,
force feedback and everything with it is superb. I mean, yeah, it's not going to be as good as a modern wheel. I'll hold my hands up, but I tell you what a hell of an experience to be having in
mm,
2000 and what 4 5 when this came out, and even today, you're getting feedback from the car that feels realistic to the track conditions and the body handling of the car through the wheel. I mean, that's some really good stuff. My second point, if anyone has got the printer that's mentioned in the back of the manual for the PS2, so I can print photos of my car in a full official PlayStation Gran Turismo 4 experience, that I can finally relive my dream of touching every piece of merch or product this game could ever support. Hit me up. Questions at unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com.
It's just using it
And
just to try
then
and get that printer.
probably, yeah, then haul myself out to whatever ink company for the 4 grand of ink it's probably going to
Yeah,
need and special photo
custom
paper.
cartridges.
Yeah, so it might be an unrequited love, but it's one I'd love to at least connect to the PlayStation in a wild dream.
You might have to sell your car to print a car.
Maybe. I'm all in at this point.
But no, great
Um,
choice. Yeah, Gran Turismo 4 to end on PS2. It's the daddy of the racing games of that era and of not of, you know, modern times as well, because there's been a lot of games come out in recent years that are still nowhere near as good as that game. It's phenomenal. The depth, the graphics. Yeah, definitely pick up Gran Turismo 4 if you're looking for PS2s. Now we go on to PS3s.
hmm.
My first one.
Before we segue into that RGT, you'd said at the top of the show this was a part one because we're planning on doing a follow-up, aren't we,
Mm-hmm.
with
Yep.
PS4,
PS Vita
5,
and PSP.
Vita, and P.
Hmm. So maybe not
And
five because it's probably a bit too modern, but
okay.
we'll do
And I can't
four.
see us ever doing a PS6 episode at this point, so we'll probably just leave it there, will we?
Yeah, yeah. That'll be yeah. Good night, nurse. I think on that one. But yes. So my my first one is by Sucker Punch Studios. And it's a game I've played two in the series very recently, and that is Infamous on the
Hmm.
PlayStation 3. I I hadn't really I always knew of Infamous, never really got into it. Me and George spoke about it a lot. George loves his first game, and even the second, and said, "Oh, just give it a go, give it a go." So when I purchased my new, I say new, old but new to me PS3, the Super Slim, I thought, right, it's time. I got the PS3 Super Slim. I got my Retro Fighters Defenders. Right, let's give Infamous a go, and I was just hooked. I played it over about a week and just completed it and jumped pretty much straight into two and loved that as much and completed that. Infamous is a game that is so at home at this generation, is so at home on the PlayStation 3. It's it's got that it's got those PS3 graphics, but it's just done so well. I love the story because it's a bit of an original story with your superpowers. It's almost that Spider-Man-esque way of getting around the city with the side missions. It's got a bit of humor in.
Which one
It's
have you
got
brought today? One or two?
one.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and it's I just love that this era of games where to be different and good would sell, not just generic to a masses. And this was one of them. And I just think, what a great game. If you're into superheroes and you like superhero games and you've never heard of and never played Infamous, buy it and give it a go because although it doesn't really look like a superhero game or sound like one, it sort of is. And it's very good and it has that dark and light meter. You choose how you want to go. You choose if you want to be a complete bum round town and, get the innocent people. I always played it as the good side, just how I am, and I just kept that fully maxed out. And
Me too.
there was the odd accidental casualty when I set a bomb off, but other than that, I just kept 100% on the good. But you can, if you want, play that way to get your powers up and collectibles and bits and pieces. And it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's a really good game. Probably 12 hours if you take your time. You can complete this in. And I think it's awesome. And I know you really love this game as well, George.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, you're not a guy wearing a cape and tights. It's more of a like a Hancock telling. You're a cycle courier from memory and a gritty one at that. And you kind of play it in that way. You can be a nice guy, and as RGT says, that's the way me and him play. I can't bring myself to do all these awful missions. I find it like a bit of a weird thing to do.
Mm,
But the dark and light meter is innovative. The cartoon-esque storytelling, I think, fits the brand and
hmm
feels a bit off at first, but you soon get well into it, and it's actually quite enjoyable and matches the box art of the limited edition that they did, a cardboard sleeve, which good luck finding a nice copy of that in the wild. They normally look like they've been kicked around on the floor about 10 times, but keep going. I'm sure you'll be rewarded. Um, this one kickstarted a brand. I've got so many good things to say about it, but the storyline alone is one that's so sort of amazing. I can't even imagine they'd even try anything like that these days. That's a bit harsh. I'm sure they would, but it's certainly one that raised my eyebrow and had to replay it twice just to make sure I'd seen it right. So it
Mm,
was, you know,
yeah.
it's a great game. One that kind of like holds your hand a little bit to begin with, and then just kind of lets you go crazy with it, which is always in my mind rewarded, so you can fully enjoy the game. Good tutorial or hidden tutorial always works well in my eyes.
Hmm.
And this is one of the very best. An absolutely great game,
It is a brilliant game, and
and I bet it's cheap.
it's only on the PS3. So if
Yep.
you want to play this game, that's where you're going to have to get it. And again, there isn't, as far as I know, especially with the PS3 store closing, there isn't a digital version of this. So
No,
this is your chance to play it now. It's action adventure single player, 2009. I've probably spoken about this before. Rating wise, I had a few 7 out of 10s, I had a few 9 out of 10s, and I had a few 5 out of 5s. So it's a
this
very
might be available currently through the kind of like digital.
sort of screaming sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You're not going to own it, and you can
you're
only
not
get
going to
it
own it.
by the subscription service. So
Yeah, so you're going to sort of cloud play it and stream game it, and it's
yeah.
yeah.
If
So
that's all you got, do it.
yeah,
But if you do that, you're going to want to own it. And then if you're
yeah,
going to want to own it, you need a PS3 to play it on.
yeah. If you
So,
got a
yeah.
PS3, go and grab it. That's what I'd say. Definitely go and grab it. But yes, I absolutely love this game. And as of playing it recently, I can vouch for it being absolutely fantastic. And yeah, a great game for the generation. So, what's your first PS3 pick then, young Georgie
My
boy?
first PlayStation 3 pick, good sir, is Little Big Planet.
Ooh,
Do you know what? Sony sat there thought, oh, we need a mascot that we can like dress up as all of our other mascots as well and have fun with. Let's do that. Well, they did that first time around with the PlayStation 3. You could get this little dude dressed up as anybody and they'd sell you a suit for everything. Suddenly they forgot they had this guy and decided they need to do exactly the same thing that they did to him that they did with Astrobot. So, writings on the wall, Astrobot. But that's a story for another day. Today we're here to celebrate Little Big Planet. Yes, I do believe this is also trapped on the PlayStation 3. Are they ever going to let you play this going forward? I very much doubt it. Is it a really great and innovative platformer? Yes, it is.
mm,
Has it had the arse end cut out of it due to the community area? Yes, but it's still an absolutely great game. And it's a fun playthrough, one that I enjoyed. I played a little bit at the time when it first came out, but more importantly, over the last 5 years, I've gone back to played all the way through it and absolutely loved it. It's a little bit rough around the edges, but it's a game that I've
very
liked.
again, like we said, very creative.
Very
Very.
creative. For me, like the box art and the manual, the way it's all put together with the stickers and just the look of it just screams physical. There's something about the way Sackboy is like a physical creation himself. He's made out of a woven cloth that sort of screams
Mm,
something. I've got a Sackboy like little plushie. He's what
mm,
a great little character. I've got a lot of time for him, and I think at the time PlayStation leveraged him to the absolute max. I mean,
mm,
they hoard out poor old Sackboy left, right, and Chelsea,
mm.
and then they dropped him like a hot stone. I've always found that a bit strange, but excuse me.
Yeah, it's always been Little Big Planet for me has always been sort of close to my heart because there's a local developer close to me who was the creative director of Little Big Planet and Little Big Planet 2, Mark Healy from Ipswich in Suffolk. So I've always kept an eye on his work and stuff, and he was always an amazing coder on a C64. And as his career went on, you could see how creative he was with Little Big Planet and the things he done on a PlayStation 3 and such good games. I mean, it was almost to me like a triple A indie game because it had that indie vibe about it, how it was made. Yet, with people like Stephen Fry and that voicing it and
Exactly
stuff,
that.
it had that touch of quality about it. And Such a
It
great
did.
game.
And I'll be honest, in an era of like brand new 1080p TVs, nothing looked as good as Sackboy did in that moment when you plugged it into your HD TV for the
Oh, no
first
way.
time. And you've got like stickers popping up with loud, vibrant colours on your brand new plasma. And you got Sackboy walking out in damn to your eyes at that moment, damn near photorealistic visual
Yeah.
quality. You
I
could
thought
see
he was
the
like real
hairs on it.
material. Yeah. It
Exactly.
looks amazing. Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
real coming together of a technology. It was a real coming together of a new TV medium. And I think the game just is synonymous with PlayStation. But sadly, they don't agree. So it's been buried. We've got to revisit towards the end of the 4 and 5, but that was a totally different game. And it played in a totally different way and had
Mm.
no allusions to any of the community elements or anything like that. You know, it
Oh,
was
the
in a
community
time.
elements was fantastic on Little
Yeah,
Big
and like I
Planet.
say, they've all been carved out the back now, sadly. But the good news is there's still enough of a single player experience in there for this to be a very much recommend if you're collecting for the PS3 and or looking for Sony's lost exclusives.
Mm. And if you listen, Mark, we'd love to have you on the show. Hit us up. That'd be brilliant. But yeah, great shout, Little Big Planet. Um, like we said before, very creative, something very different, something for everyone of all ages. Great game. Yeah, and it's just a shame that those, and I hate to say it, but as time has gone on, those sort of creative games are for the indies now. That's where you look for these sort of games. Your big boys aren't taking risks on stuff like this anymore. Um, and it's a shame. It's a shame. But yeah, great pick there, George. Absolutely great pick. Um, my second, but also final game of the pick on this show, the PS3, um, is a game a friend of mine was playing, and when I first saw it, I wasn't quite sure if his TV was broke or not. So, why are you playing that in black and white? And then that sort of dawned on me what he was doing, and that game is the Saboteur on the PlayStation 3. EA, surprisingly, this game, which with this era, EA did publish, not so much developed, but published quite a lot of these original games, different style of games, fighters with different stories, alternate universes. But the Saboteur is based in World War II, and you're in France, and it's got that, like I said at the start, this creative side to it, where as you free up, it's black and white, but as you free up the city, you bring the color back to the areas that you've freed up as part of the resistance. Um, yes, some of the controls are a little bit woody nowadays. It is an old game, but I just think for the experience, that's worth playing this game because, again, if you speak to a lot of people who are sort of PS3 onwards, not many people have heard of the Saboteur. And I'm like, what's that? They wouldn't even know EA had made it. Just this very creative way of playing, almost like a sort of, I suppose you would class it as open world France, where you try and resist against Germany. Um, Very unique, great game. And again, another one I think that needs to be in a PS3 collection. I mean, I think this was 360 as well, but
It was
definitely this generation.
probably PC as well, I think,
Yeah, give it a go. Yes, it was Windows, PS3, Xbox 360. Like I say, this was published
and Game
by.
Boy Color.
This was published by sorry, EA, but developed by Pandemic Studios.
That's it. Yeah.
Um, and again, it had good scores, 8.5 out of 10. You got Eurogamer gave it 6 out of 10, which I think's harsh for this game, but mostly 8 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s. Um, a unique game from the era, a unique creative game from the era, of which, as we said, you don't really get anymore. And I just think that's a must
I'd
play
say
of that
Eurogamer's
system.
reviewers stood the test of time.
Mm, mm, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely give it a go. Le Saboteur. I know you've played this, George.
Yeah, I've played it. Do you know what? An absolutely brilliant premise. Again, one of those games that, when the 360 and the PS3 launched, People were starting to pick up HD sets. Saboteur was another one of those games, absolutely fantastic on a plasma back in the day. The black and white with the flashes of crimson. The premise of the idea of it being black and white was very bold, very, very bold. That represented the Nazi occupied areas, and as you kind of liberated them as a resistance member, they became back to colour, which was a really great storytelling technique and one that represented itself on the screen really well. RGT touched on it, the woolly controls. I think that's for me what holds it back. That's why I think Eurogamer are probably spot on. I've not read the review, but to me, I'd give it a 6. Doesn't mean it's a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but there would be an adjustment period for a modern gamer, I think, but you would get used to it very quickly, put an hour in, and you'd be all over it like a rash, and I think you'd be
Definitely,
having a
definitely.
blast.
Yeah.
Um, it's a game that I don't know as would maybe get made today. I think as RGT said, I think maybe an indie studio would take a risk on that. You know, we saw maybe Ghost of Tsushima come with a Kurosawa filter where it was like black and white, grainy filter to kind of copy the old black and white Japanese samurai films. But this is a little bit more. I know this sounds criminal, but it's a bit more Schindler's List in the fact that it's black and white, but there are flashes of crimson at moments to kind of make the black and white work in a more sort of modern way. A really great game, one that's yeah locked on that gen for sure. One that's definitely, if you're collecting from a PlayStation slant, one that's definitely locked on PlayStation from your point of view. A game from that era that's worth. If you've tried Dead Space and thought, oh yeah, that was okay, you know, you'd do no wrong to try Saboteur, and you'd have probably a similar takeaway by the end of it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a I picked it because it's unique. I love the way the story is told, and the color almost brings hope back to the people you're helping. Very nice idea, very original, and something you aren't going to get anymore, and something you're not really going to play unless you've got the physical. So yeah, the Saboteur PS3 was my
And
final.
plays further into my mind that anything sort of pre-1950s people saw in black and white as well. So, you know, it really fit with that
Yeah.
whole sort of mind game, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But yeah, Saboteur PS3 is my final game of today of part one of this. What's your final game and final PS3 game today, George?
Final game, final PS3 game, Final Fantasy 13.
Mm.
Now, this is a game that's not really seen the ability to play it outside of the PlayStation ecosystem, or PlayStation haven't made it available. Xbox have through backwards compatibility, and I do believe it's one of the better ways to play that. But if again you're coming at this from a PlayStation point of view, after Nintendo, Final Fantasy as RGT brought in Final Fantasy VII, became synonymous with the PlayStation brand, exclusive, and at this point they were experimenting with multiple platform releases. But this one for me is still a PlayStation game. It's still a PlayStation franchise. It went up for grabs after Nintendo and they grabbed it and brought it down, and they've continued to bring it down with multiple exclusivity offers even to this day. But Final Fantasy 13, all that sort of digital locked ecosystem nonsense aside, is for me maybe my favorite Final Fantasy.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a bit bloated, but I tell you what, it looks fantastic even to this day. This game looks beautiful and doesn't feel, for the most part, like it is from that gen of gaming, 360 PS3. It plays so well. The cutscenes are memorable, the characters are enjoyable, the battle techniques are fun and different. The enemies are diverse, the areas are beautiful to look at. It's a game that if you haven't played and you like Final Fantasy and you want another turn-based experience, but a modern feeling one, this is one you've got to get behind. I loved everything about it. Yeah, I said it was a bit bloated. I feel like the mid to end section, when you get into the open world, it's not worth it. In the modern era, it's a big open space, yeah, whoop-de-woo, but it feels not much more than Hyrule Field. the places, the dungeons that you go into, or the worlds that you go into, the areas that exist outside of that in the linear way feel a million bucks. And I feel that maybe that back section could get trimmed down and just go back into the kind of more linear path. And it is just an absolute rip snorter, sort of almost Hollywood-esque fantasy experience, sci-fi fantasy experience that I was blown away by. When I first tried it on 360 back in the day, I probably got a third of the way into it and life was busy and I fell off of it. Plus, it was felt to me a bit overbearingly large. Going back to it later with more time on my hands and playing it on PS3, absolutely loved it. Prepared to dedicate some time to seeing it through, but you'll enjoy it. Not much more to be said. I mean, there's various different physical versions of this you can pick up across a medium of different formats, but I've got the vanilla version and I've also got this limited collector's edition, but I should imagine the vanilla version is relatively affordable, especially for the hours to pound or dollar ratio that you would pay for it in terms of payback of enjoyment and time spent on it. Is certainly a better return than a box set. So, mileage may vary.
Hmm.
Like I say, there's no way you're playing this on a PlayStation outside of the PS3. So if you want to experience it and you're collecting for this series or this family of consoles, and you're a bit like, oh God, the end of physical, that's a bit scary. I ought to pick up the things that I remember while I still can, or maybe I never played but was mildly intrigued by. This would be one game that you'd be more than happy with.
Hmm. Definitely, without a doubt. I've never played myself. Always heard good things. And I remember when you played for it a few years ago, talking to you about it, and just the hours that you just pushed into this game, and you loved it,
Mm.
and you said how
So
pretty it
rewarding as
was.
well. It's
Yeah.
so rewarding.
And it's one of them that I find people don't speak about a lot with the Final Fantasy series. It gets overlooked quite a lot.
It's kind of a bit because I think it's because it's a bit dead-ended on those systems. It never,
Mm,
yeah, Xbox brought it forward, but again, it's not one that people really talked about. I guess it was in an era where once you're done with them, yeah, it's weird. It is overlooked, but I think when people cotton onto it, it's gonna catch on like a house on fire. Because, like I say, it feels modern enough and looks modern enough where you play it through and not even give it a second thought.
mm. Um, so there's our 6 games each, 12 picks for you from PS1, PS2, PS3. Probably some you've probably heard of, more generic ones. Some you probably have heard of, but never thought of trying. And we're saying, give them a go. We're basically saying, don't worry about this digital future because there is a backlog of games there for everyone to enjoy. It
Oh,
doesn't.
so
It doesn't have to be the rip snort and new PS6 or Xbox Helix, or Switch 3, whatever they come out with. There's games there that are so good, hold up well today, and you've got a physical copy of them that you can jump back on whenever you want. And that's why we chose these. As promised, before we get into the housekeeping and end the show, I will jump on
yes,
to
my favorite bit of these top tens or whatever we call them.
we'll do a little guessy with George here as I've got these written down.
Hmm.
So your first game, George, was Porsche Challenge on the PlayStation 1. What would you say that the value of that is today?
I would say that's probably at best a £5 game.
Bang on. That's about a £5 game. You might be able to
Oh
get it a bit
wow.
cheaper. But yeah, £5 game. That is Porsche Challenge for a decent copy. Excuse me. Your number two game
Oh, so
was.
we're only guessing my ones, okay.
Well, no, we'll guess mine as well. We'll just go through. Or do you want me to do both number ones first then? Yeah? Do you want me to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
my.
do that.
Right. So my first game was Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1. What do you think that is going for nowadays,
Hmm.
George?
I don't know. That version you've got, I would say today, probably 30 quid.
You bang on that. If you can get that.
Wow!
If, yeah, CEX list at a 32. I think if you go in a retro game store, you could probably pick this up just under £30, I would imagine. I think if you get it for 30, you're done well.
It was 20 for the longest time,
It
20,
was.
25. Like the Final
Yeah.
Fantasies are also kind of locked at a price that I don't think's moved in 20 years.
But I think this announcement is twitching things at the minute. Things are
I
slowly
think so. I
things
I
are going.
personally think it's a great way for them to sell a load of physical product and then see all their stuff boosted on in the internet as people say, oh, mourn the loss of physical, blah blah blah. It's going to be
Yeah,
more PlayStation historic and current content than you've ever seen.
expect to backtrack on that, I would imagine. Never know. Your number two game, George, was Spider-Man on a PlayStation 1 by
Hmm,
Neversoft and Activision.
that's an
What
interesting curio because I'm going to guess it like 20 quid.
I think if you can get it for under 30, you're doing well nowadays.
Wow.
That's 27 to sort of
I don't
30.
bring these to think that they're bangers, by the way. I mean, yeah, some of them I knew might be pricey, but I didn't think that. To me, it's a £5
It's
game, but
surprised,
obviously,
yeah, it's surprised. I think I paid about £5, £6 for it probably a few years ago, obviously. But yeah, I think for a mint copy, you're going to be looking over £30 nowadays. But if you can pick it up for under 30, you've done well. You've done well.
wow.
Um, yes, so my second game was Final Fantasy VII
Now,
on
the
the
series I
PlayStation
talked
1.
about that was either 15 or 20 quid for the last 20 years has got me doubting myself. Now, I don't know. Even though it's multiple discs and we've just talked about Spider-Man being 30, I reckon this is 20.
Um, you're looking about 25,
Hmm,
25 for a decent copy. It,
unbelievable.
yeah, it was £15 for the longest time ever. They were
So
always
long.
£15, but now they're creeping. They're creeping.
Think of the economy though. Multiple discs
Hmm,
versus Spider-Man with one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's mad, isn't
Go figure.
it? Your third game, George, Persona 4 on the
Mm.
PlayStation 2.
Like I say, I said relatively affordable, and you sucked through your teeth, and it made me go, "Oh, crikey!" Now, like I say, I reckon I paid 20 quid for this because it included the CD soundtrack. But something tells me this is probably. I'm guessing. I don't look. I don't really care. But I'm guessing this has got to be. I don't know, like 70 quid or something.
You're about in the middle for an average copy. I think
Wow.
if you want a minter of this, you're going to be looking 85 to £95 for a minter of this.
I, d- you
Um,
know,
I
I
think if you'll do well if you can pick it up between 60 and 70 for a decent copy, you've done really well. But for a minter, you're going to be pushing that 100 mark for a real minter of that. Um, yeah, it's but
is it worth that? Like, I don't know. As an appreciating asset, as I talked about when RGT like sort of winced. I mean, maybe. Good God.
well, if you're a Persona fan, if you're a hardcore Persona fan, you haven't got this and you got a PS2. I mean, what were
Oh,
you
you
saying?
have to have this. You've
You
got to
have
get
to have it,
this.
and modern games are heading towards £100 downloads for digital games.
True.
So
True. It's not unreasonable to get one with a soundtrack, is it?
don't look at it as an old game that's not worth much. Think of it as value to you. And
Yes,
yeah, as a Persona fan, this is one of the best Persona games and looks awesome on the system it's running on. So
it really does.
it
Yeah.
yeah, it could turn out to be a very good purchase.
Wow.
My number three,
Yeah.
Jack and Daxter.
And this is
Precursor.
brutal because it's in no way disrespect to this game at all. But, I, for the longest time, this was £1. But I'd like to imagine, I pray, I like to dream that it's worth probably at least five now.
I think, yeah, if you want it with that lovely map manual and all that in, you're looking about £5, £3 to £5 for that. Um,
Such a crime for such a
which
good game.
is an absolute steal. Believe me, I know you probably go in CXs and they've all got Jack and Daxter's in Precursor Legacy. If you haven't got it and you've got a PS2, please buy it because you
And
will not
hawk
be
through until you
disappointed.
find the one with the map. You might as well.
Yeah,
It's a
because
£5 anyway, whatever which one you get.
yeah, it's just brilliant. It's the whole package. Great, great game. And an absolute steal at £5. You can
And
hardly get a
mix and
pint of beer
match.
for £5 nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Find the
Um,
best box art and then get the best manual and stick it in and go pay you £5 for it because it's the same price whether you do that or not.
exactly. Your fourth pick, Gran Turismo 4 on the PlayStation 2, George.
Again, no disrespect to this game in any way, but I would be shocked if this was any more than Maybe it's crept up a little bit because Gran Turismo, let's imagine it's like 10 quid.
Nope, £5 for a complete copy of this in good
Wow.
condition. Um, and that is probably for one of the best driving games ever made. Gran Turismo 4, £5. If you got a
Even
PS2,
to this day, yeah.
grab it because if you like cars and you've got a bit of a passion for them, this is the passion game for you because it is superb,
Yeah.
absolutely superb.
Okay. So I didn't do so well there.
No, but you done well with price though. Um, my number four, Canis Cayman Edit, aka Bully.
Hmm.
What do you reckon on that now?
Yeah, because this was a very cheap game. This was charity shop fodder for the longest time, but I
For the
reckon it's
longest one,
probably worth quite a bit of money
with
now.
this off-color spine, that does my head in.
Yes,
I don't know why it's a different shade of white.
there's a couple of different shades of white in that PlayStation library.
Mm, mm.
Um, oh, I don't know. I reckon you're probably paying because people are quite nostalgic for it. I reckon you're paying 25 quid.
No, surprisingly, no. You can pick this up complete with the awesome manual and everything for about 15. Yeah, I think if you go to that's CEX
Wow.
price. If you go to a retro game store, I think you pick this up for about 12 quid.
But
Uh,
and that, I think that the price that I said is more reflective of the quality of the game. But hey,
yeah.
what do I know? I mean,
And
just
again,
get it bought.
I know some people probably think £15 for a PS2 game's expensive, not for the experience. That's only, a £7 or £8 on the store for a digital copy. But if you want the actual physical with a manual anything for another 7 quid, you've got a fantastic game. Superb. One of Rockstar's very finest. So yeah, definitely give that a look. Um, your number five, George, was Little Big Planet on the PlayStation 3.
Hmm. Yeah, I can't see that being much more than 5 quid.
2 quid.
Ah, perfect. What a great
Two
price.
quid. What an amazing price for a very unique and great
If
game.
there's
And
plenty on the shelf, pick through because me and RGT have talked about this. For some reason, this game gets hit with serious sun fade. So pick the one with the most vibrant cover you can find because although it does look a bit faded when you get a good one,
yeah,
when you put them side by side on the shelf, you'll kick yourself if you pick that wrong one. You
yeah.
will.
And
And for
there's
what, 2 quid?
for 2 quid. They're always in CX as well. I always
And
see them when I'm
and
in there.
hawk
Just
the
think,
right manual, hawk a good looking
yeah.
manual.
And you think for £2, what a great game for £2. I mean,
Unbelievable.
price of a Greg sausage roller. It's
Well, it is. It's
yeah,
crazy.
it's mad. It's mad.
It's
Absolutely
worth
mad.
way more like I've said, I know the community's been stripped out the back of it, but for a one player, two player co-op fun play little game, I mean, what more can you need?
Mm. Um, my first, but also first PS3 game, but fifth game was Infamous. What do you
Hmm.
reckon that's going for now, George?
I don't know, that's a fiver, is it?
It's for really good cop. You're looking at about £8 to £10 now for Infamous. It's creeping, and I think the second one might even be a little bit more.
Yeah, I
Again, I
agree.
think these ones that are locked on systems are creeping a bit now because there's no other way to play them, and they're some of the best on the system. So yeah, so even though it's still a cheap game, if you pick this up for just over a fiver, I think you've done brilliant for this game. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's Infamous. Um, your final game, George, was Final Fantasy 13. What do you think that is worth now?
The vanilla version, I can't see on PS3 being much more than like maximum 15 quid.
You can pick this up 3 to 5 quid. Final Fantasy 13.
Wow.
Mm, full of vanilla version, yeah. Mm.
Mate, I don't know what the return on price is of that, but there's like 60 hours of enjoyment in there.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably pick a Minter up for £3.50 from CEX.
Shoot me down.
Xbox 360 is like £2.50.
What about
Uh,
the limited collector's edition?
you're looking 25 to £30, depending on condition for that.
Hey, I tell you what, there's
That's a great
absolute
collection for that.
There's absolute. If you get this game for £3 and you like enjoy it as much as I did, you're gonna immediately on Xbox or on PlayStation gonna want to get this limited collector's edition. It's beautiful. It's got a little
Yeah,
art book in it. It looks so nice, and the Final Fantasy like splash behind the logo, that picture that they do for each Final Fantasy game. This is one of the nicest pieces. You have to have this. And
mm,
for the price you just said, I bet thing is, like you can get nearly mint looking brand new ones on there for that money.
mm. And I think just remember as well, this is a massive JRPG, beautifully done, one of the best on the system. Looks
Mm.
fantastic. By all means, you're not buying an old game. You're playing an HD game that plays really well. You
Yeah,
could own the vanilla copy, and if you really love it, you could buy the collector's edition copy for still half the price of a modern game. You're getting all the benefits of a modern game out of that. I think it's absolute steal. Looks lovely, the collector's edition on your
that's
shelf as well.
fantastic. That's
Brilliant.
get on that, guys. Get on that.
My final game is The Saboteur on the PlayStation
Mm.
3.
This is interesting. I, I mean, I've my eyes gone out as I've gone through the game, so I'm just going to chuck a wild 15 at this and hope for the best.
Bang on the money, 15.
Thank God.
This was a £2 to £3 game for the longest time. But
It was
again,
charity shop again.
yeah, again, as time's gone on and these generational games that have just stayed back there and we've gone away from them, they're starting to creep. You can get it on if you've got a 360 and you're listening to this, you can pick it up for a tenner on a 360. Yes, that's slightly bit cheaper, but PS3 is £15 if you want a copy of the
Mm.
Saboteur.
I think it
Again,
sold really well on Xbox at the time because it was
mm,
just at the peak of its kind of attractiveness as a brand, and that
exactly, yeah.
console was like riding real high.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely bang on. But definitely worth it. Again, it's an older game, and some of it is a little bit woody with the controls. Once you get used to it, it's just for the premise of the game and the setting it's in. Definitely give it a go. But I hope you liked that. That was
I
sort of
did.
that was a lot our reaction a bit to the upcoming digital news that's coming out, and we just thought, well, hold on, here at Flashback, we like talking about physical stuff here. Let's do a little PlayStation one. This is part one. We'll do a part two. Should we do part two next week, George, or should we do part two next week? Can we? Should we?
Hmm. Yeah, if you want. Well,
Yeah,
what
we'll
do
have a
they
think.
want?
Yeah,
It's
let
not
us
up to
know.
me and you.
Let us know if you listen on YouTube. Subscribe, comment down below, give us a like. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about our game choices. And if you've got any suggestions as well from that era. And this just leads us on to our housekeeping perfectly because
I've got a piece of housekeeping.
away you go.
Absolutely fantastic solo. I listened. I want a badge that says I listened to RGT solos.
I'll only need to
Solo.
print one.
RGT solos solo. That's what I want.
Oh, bless you. I thought I'd struggled with that, but I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Well, I'll only carry on if you bring out the badges. But I
Okay.
loved it. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, thank you very much.
One wonders what the hell I'm doing here.
Oh, no, we need you here. Don't you
You
dare
do
say
not,
that.
mate. Don't blow smoke up my arse. It's not needed, and it's not.
You're
It's
the
not wanted.
oracle that we need. You're the
I doubt that
oracle.
very much.
You are. Um, but also, obviously, if you listen to this and you think, oh, I wouldn't mind listening to more stuff that these guys do, jump over to the UCP. We have a few more presenters on there as well. That's our weekly, more modern gaming podcast, which goes out every Sunday and has gone out every Sunday for 8 or 9 years now, well over 300 episodes there. Jump on there, have a listen, give us a follow, give us a like. Same again. You can watch the video of that on YouTube. So jump over there and you can see our ugly mushes and give us a comment and a sub. Next up, our website, unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. We have recently added reviews on there. So check them out. There's a couple on there at the moment. I'm writing one at the moment. Digital Monkery is writing one as well. So we will start filling the page
Yeah,
up
I'm out
with
of it
more
for a
reviews.
little while, and everyone gets delusions of grandeur. What's going on here? You Jedi's now, are you?
No, just doing a review page. Don't blow it up to be more than what it is.
I imagine you're like laid out on the grass writing this with an ink quill.
Bada bing, so you know what to do. Artwork T-shirt. There we go.
I'm still waiting for the badge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You'll be waiting a while for the badge. But yes,
No,
check
better
out the
not be.
website. Captain's done a fantastic job on that, and it just keeps getting growing and getting bigger. And I noticed though our hits on the website are going down, so please go and check it out if you are listening.
What the hell?
Unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. Even if you just type in unofficial controller podcast, it will come up as one of the very early links to go.
We need to learn from our forebears' mistakes. We need to make it a place to go. We
Mm,
need to come up with a month, and
yes,
then we
yes,
go all in on it, and everyone's there.
exactly. Yes, yes,
I'll leave
definitely.
that with you. Come up with something good.
I knew you would. Yes, so definitely, definitely check the website out because there is a mobile. If you're on mobile, there is a mobile version of it on there as well as the desktop version. But we're very proud of Captain for what he's done. That looks very, very good.
Beautiful.
Email if you want to contact the show any way you can. Questions at unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. If it's about Flashback, just put Flashback as a title. It could be anything from, wow, we really like your show to, oof, you missed these games out, or what, give us a suggestion for a show going forward. Whatever you'd like to use it for.
Is George AI?
Exactly. No one ever knows, do they?
No.
No one ever knows. Also, we have a fantastic Discord channel. Jump on there. We've recently just had the guys from 2.5 Gamers UK jump on and join us on there. So if you like
Yeah, that was
their
good.
stuff,
That was
yeah,
great.
they were our last show where we were talking all things digital and the digital future of, GTA 6 and Sony and PS6 and all that good stuff.
And they're younger
Jump.
than us, so
Mm,
they brought a fresh take on it, and it wasn't
exactly.
necessarily what you think.
Exactly. Yes. Great guys. Great YouTube channel. Check them out as well. Give them a sub and a like and see their vlogs and gaming collection history and where they're going with their bits and pieces. Very interesting. But yes, check out the Discord. Plenty of things going on there from challenge accepted to monthly playthroughs and bits and pieces. Very good gaming little home there, little hub. Check us out on TikTok. The videos go out there quite regular. Check us out on Instagram. If you want to join the Discord, check out the Instagram for the links to the Discord channel, or check me out at Retro Gamer Thomas. There is links on there as well. Yes, we're also on X also. So yeah, I think we've covered all the bases. I think, George, I
I think
believe we've
so.
I
That's
think we've
absolutely
covered
brilliant.
everything.
I
Thanks
just
for
need my
joining me
badge.
again.
I listen to our GT solos. Solo? Yeah, I'm happy with that. But no, mate, a great episode. Hopefully everyone found it enjoyable. Hopefully everyone's been inspired to go maybe pick a system or maybe go in the loft and drag that system out from Mumsy and Dadsy's loft that they said they'd collect a couple of years ago, set it up on the telly, start picking up some games that they kind of aspired to own or did own, rebuild that collection, get that little physical library going of the games that matter to them. And
Mm,
hopefully today we've enlightened you to how expensive or affordable that could be. But don't let that put you off. Shop around. The thrill of the hunt is what it's all about.
mhm.
Thank you for listening, you beautiful, beautiful, sexy human beings.
Brilliant. Yes, thanks for that, George. Great picks as always. We had some great games there. Just remember, guys, the future doesn't have to be digital. It can be physical. You can have hours and hours of fun gaming. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the latest hardware. There's plenty of stuff out there, and hence why we do a show called Flashback, because there's so much good stuff out there. Well, I hope you liked the show. Let us know what you think. Give us plenty of comments. Tell us games that you'd pick from PS1, PS2, PS3. Plenty of comments on the YouTube. Come and join us on Discord. You could even, on your podcast provider, contact us for a little bit on there. So chuck some on there. We'll have a read. We'll have a readout. But yeah, brilliant. New premise going forward. We'll cover other systems as well as we go along. But yeah, really enjoyed that. Thank you, George. I will see you next week, young man.
New catchphrase. Let's get physical.
Ooh.
So I need a t-shirt as well.
Oh, God, it's going to be an expensive week. So, yeah, thanks, George. Like I say, I'll see you next week. And listeners, thank you again for downloading, listening, commenting, supporting the show. And I'll see you all next week.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.
And remember, Flashback, the games you loved, the stories you forgot.